Good evening, I am Mutal Fizan. Here are the latest international developments. We begin with the rising tension in the Middle East. The United States has warned that it may launch military strike against Iran that could be more severe than any previous operation. The warning comes after as the conflict continues to intensify across the region. Meanwhile, a report published by the Wall Street Journal on March 14 states that an Iranian missile strike targeted Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. According to U.S. defense official, 5 U.S. Air Force KC-135 Stratotanker refueling aircraft were damaged in the attack. However, President Donald Trump has denied the report. Despite the recent US strike, analysts say Iran's ballistic missiles capabilities remain largely intact. This has allowed Iran to continue launch attacks against Israel and several Gulf countries. Bahrain has reported intercepting and destroying 121 missiles and 193 drones since the beginning of the conflict. In Iran, security source says that US embassy in Baghdad's green zone was struck by both a missile and a suicide drone during the early hour of March 14. A French Kurdish military base in Erbil, Iraq was also attacked yesterday by Iranian-backed militia group. French President Emmanuel Macron confirmed that one French service member was killed and others are several wounded. President Donald Trump has claimed that 95% of Iran's missiles arsenals has been destroyed. However, several analysts and critics also questioning that claim. They argue that if such a large portion of has been eliminated, Iran would not still have able to carry out attacks on embassies and military bases in the region. The US president also released a video showing American jet striking Kurg Island, a key hub responsible for the most Iran's oil export. Trump stated that US force destroyed military targets on the islands. In multiple military targets including missiles bunker, weapons and storage facilities, naval storage. However, he also said that American forces has not yet targeted on the Iceland's oil refineries or storage tanks. Trump warned that if Iran continues to threaten the Strait of Hormuz, those facilities could become the future targets. Iran, meanwhile, has issued strong warning of its own. Iran's officials say that if Iran could sell oil, then no country in the region will be able to sell theirs. Tehran has threatened possible attacks on oil facilities in Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. Global oil prices has already risen above $100 per barrel. Analysts warn that if major refineries were attacked, price could surge between $150 to $200 per barrel. Iran's state media, including Press TV, are reporting that US-linked oil tanker was attacked and set on fire near the coast of Sharjah, UAE. In Israel, several cities were struck by Iranian missiles attack earlier today. In south city of Eilat, cluster munition reportedly injured a young boy. In central Israel city including Shaham and Holon experienced building fire. In Rishon LeZion, a missile struck a highway and destroyed several vehicles. Meanwhile, the humanitarian situation in Lebanon continued to deteriorate. More than 800,000 people has been displaced by ongoing strikes, about 14% of the total population of the country. Among those displaced are nearly 300,000 children according to UNICEF. Since March 2nd, about 95 children been killed and about 275 children are injured in Lebanon by Israel's strike. Hundreds of schools has been converted into emergency shelter, while many families are sleeping in tents, crowded buildings, or even inside their cars. The Israeli Defense Forces have also issued an urgent evacuation warning for an industrial area in western Tabriz, Iran. The warning was posted in Persian on social media, along with a map stating that anyone remaining in this area risking their lives. Iran said its latest attack targets senior Israeli leadership or the part of military campaign it cards True Promise 4. Analysts say Donald Trump's strategy now appears to be shifting towards what described as declare victory and exit approach, rather than a long-term military occupation. 2 weeks in operation known as Operation Epic Fury, critics say there is a growing gap between the White House statements and the situation on the ground. While President Donald Trump claims that Iranian military has been largely destroyed, shipping through the Strait of Hormuz remain heavily disrupted and Iranian missile strikes continue. A senior Iranian official has told CNN that Tehran may allow a limited number of oil tanks to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. However, oil must be traded in Chinese yuan instead of US dollar, a move analysts say challenged the global petrodollar system. At the same time, President Trump has reportedly allowed Russia to resume oil exports for 30 days in an effort to increase global supply and reduce fuel prices. This decision has angered several European allies who warned that additional oil revenue could strengthen Russia's war efforts in Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says that policy could give Russia a $10 billion financial boost. European experts estimate that Russia is already earning roughly $150 million more per day due to high oil prices. Reports also suggest that some European countries, including France and Italy, may be negotiating with Iran to ensure safe passage for their oil tanks through the region. French President Emmanuel Macron has proposed forming an international-level security force to escort oil tankers once the conflict subsides. France is reportedly deploying its aircraft carrier, the Charles de Gaulle, to support the mission. The ongoing conflict is already having a major impact on global energy supplies. Within the Strait of Hormuz largely closed, Qatar, one of the world's largest natural gas exporter, has temporarily halted the shipments. In countries like Pakistan and India, gas pricing has risen by more than 30% in just 2 weeks. Across Europe, governments are now searching for alternative gas supplies as the crisis continues to push up global living costs. And finally, in diplomatic news, China's Foreign Minister Yang Yi has called on Pakistan and Afghanistan to solve their tension through dialogue rather than conflict, urging both sides to pursue stability in the region. Those are the latest international development. Thank you for watching East News.